Welcome to my channel. Today we'll discuss an important topic, the President of India, and we'll discuss the detailed information about President of India, all the previous years question related to the President of India, list of president and related articles and MCQ question. So let's start the video. The President is the de jure or nominal head of the Indian state as well as the executive head of the state. Next point, the President is the Union Executive which consists of the President, the Vice President, the Prime Minister, the Council of Ministers and the Attorney General etc. All the executive actions of the Government of India are formally taken in his name. Next point, the executive powers vested in the President are to be exercised on the advice of the Council of Ministers and responsible to the Parliament. Next point, the 42nd Amendment to the Constitution has made it the obligatory on the part of the President to accept the advice of Council of Ministers. Next point, he is the first citizen of India and act as the symbol of unity and integrity of the nation. Next point, qualification of the election as a President of India. Article deals with 58. A person should be fulfill the following criteria to be the President of India. Number 1, he or she must be a citizen of India. Number 2, he or she must be completed 35 years of age. And number 3, he or she must be qualified to be a member of the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha. 4, he or she should not be hold any office or profit under the union government, any of the state or the local authorities or any other public authorities. However, the post of the sitting president, vice president, the governor of any state or a minister of the union or any of the states don't come under the definition of the office of profit. So, any person in these capacities is qualified to be a presidential candidate. Note, the nomination of the presidential candidate must be proposed by the 50 electors and secondly by the 50 electors. Next point, rupees 15,000 to be deposit within the Reserve Bank of India as a security. It gets fortified if the candidate failed to secure 1/6 of the total voted pooled. Next information, election of the President of India. Articles deals with 44 and 55. The President is indirectly elected by the Electoral College consists of number 1, elected members of the both houses Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Number 2, elected members of the legislative assemblies of the state legislative assembly and state legislative council. Number 3, elected member of the legislative assembly of 2 union territories, 3 union territories now, Delhi, Puducherry and Jammu and Kashmir. Note, nominated members to the houses and the union territory legislative assembly don't participate in the presidential election. Only the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha and the state assemblies. Next point, president's election is held in the accordance with the system of proportional representation by the means of single transferable vote, and the vote is done through the secret ballot. The value of the vote of the MLA member of Legislative Assembly equals to total population of the state as per the 1971 census by total number of electoral members in the state legislative assemblies into 1 by 1000. Next point, on the basis of the above formula, the value of the vote of a MLA from the Uttar Pradesh has the highest value and the Sikkim has the lowest. Next point, the value of a vote of an MP, Member of Parliament, equals to the total value of the votes of the MLA of all the state divided by total number of elected members of the Parliament. Next point, a candidate must be secured a fixed quota of vote in order to be the declared elected for the office of the president. So it is expressed as electoral quota equals to total number of valid votes polled by number of candidate of the to be the elected plus 1. Next point, the population of 1971 census is represent ordered the consideration in this regard. Next point, all the dispute regarding the election of the president are settled by the Supreme Court, whose decision is the final in this regard. Next point, election of the president cannot be challenged on the ground of incompetency electoral college. Next point, some notes of President of India. V.B. Giri was elected as the president as a independent candidate in the year of 1969. Next point, served as the president in different capacities was Justice M. Hidayatullah. Next point, first in 1969 as a Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and second time in the year of 1982 as the Vice President of India was Justice M. Hidayatullah. Next point, the President was elected unopposed in the year of 1977 was Neelam Sanjiva Reddy, and he was also the youngest President of India. Next point, oath or affirmation of President. Article deals with 60. The President has subscribed to an oath which is administered to him by the Chief Justice of India or in his absence the senior most judge of the Supreme Court. Next point, in this oath the President swear, number 1, to faithfully execute the office, number 2, to preserve, protect and defend the Constitution of the law, number 3, to devote himself to the serve as well as being of the people. Next point, vacancy in the President's office. Article deals with 62. In the following ways, a vacancy occurs in the office of the President. Number 1, on the end of the tenure of 5 years. Number 2, by the resignation. Number 3, on the removal by the impeachment. Number 4, by his death. And number 5, when his election is declared valid. Next, enumeration of the President office. Article deals with 59. The present salary of a President of India is 5 lakh per month. Next point, the term of the President's office. Article deals with 56. The President holds the office for a period of 5 years in order to prevent integration. Outgoing President continues to hold the office until his successor assumes the charge. Next point, the President, however, can be resigned at any time by the writing under his address to the Vice President. And number 3, he is eligible for the re-election to the office of President for any number of times. Article deals with 57. Next point, impeachment of the President. Article deals with 61. Number 1. President can be impeached only on the grounds of the violation of Constitution if it is a quasi-judicial process in the Parliament. Number 2. Impeachment can be initiated in either house of the Parliament, either in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Number 3. However, this charge must be signed 1/4 of the members of the House and a 14 days notice should be given to the President. Number 4. If the impeachment motion is passed by a majority of the 2/3 of the total members of the House, then it's sent to the other House, which should be investigate the charges. Number 5. The President stands removed if the other House also sustained the charge and passed it by a 2/3 of the majority. Nominated members of both the House of the Parliament and also participate in the impeachment through they did not participate in the election, but elected members of the State Assembly and elected members of the Delhi, Puducherry, Jammu and Kashmir don't participate in the same. No president has been impeached so far in India. Next point, executive powers of the president. Article deals with 53 and 74. Executive powers of the president are follows. Number 1. All the executive action of the government of India are formally taken in his name. Number 2. He can make rules specifying the manners in which the orders and the other instrument made and executed in his name shall be authenticated. Number 3. He appoints the Prime Minister and the other minister on his Prime Minister advice. Number 2. Chief Justice of India and other judges of the Supreme Court and High Courts. Attorney General of India, CAG, Comptroller Auditor General of India. Number 4. Chairman and members of UPSC. Number 5. The Governor of the states. The number 6. The Election Commissioners of India. And number 7. Members of the Finance Commissions. He can declare any area as scheduled area. He can seek any information relating to the administration of affairs of the Union and proposal for the legislation from the Prime Minister. He directly administered the Union territories through the Lieutenant Governor, Commissioner or administrators. Next, legislative powers of the President. Article deals with 108, 111 and 123. He summons or propagates the Parliament and dissolves the Lok Sabha. Next, he summons the joint sitting of the Parliament. Article deals with 108. Next point, after the general election, he addressed the first session. He also addressed at the commencement of the first session of each year. Next point, he can appoint any members of to the preside over processing of the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, where the post of the Speaker and Deputy Speaker for Lok Sabha or the post of Chairman and Vice Chairman for Rajya Sabha falls vacant. Next point, nominated 14 members in the Parliament, 12 in the Rajya Sabha and 2 in the Lok Sabha from Anglo-India community. Next point, he or she on the consulting the election commission decides on the disqualification of the members of the Parliament other than the grounds of anti-deflection law. Next point, he can propagate ordinance under Article 123 when one or both the houses are not in session, the ordinance must be approved by the Parliament within 6 weeks from its resemble. Next point, he lays the report of the CAG, Comptroller Auditor General, UPSC and Finance Commission before the Parliament. Next point, he can address both the houses jointly, separately. Next point, he can address both the house either respect to a bill pending in the Parliament otherwise. Next point, a bill become an act only when the President give his assent. Next point, when a bill is sent to the President after it has been passed by the Parliament, both the house, he can, number 1, give his assent to the bill, or number 2, withhold his assent to the bill, or number 3, return the bill if it is not a money bill for reconsideration of the Parliament, all through only once. Next, veto power of President. Article deals with 111. Veto is a Latin word for I forbid. Veto power is a constitutional right to reject a decision or proposal made by a lawmaking body. Next point, President of India has the power to veto with respect to the bills passed by the Parliament. There are 4 types of veto powers, but the Indian President enjoy 3 of the following. Number 1, absolute veto. The executive power to say no, that is to say outrightly that assent cannot be given. Technically, it means completely withholding the assent. Next, suspensive veto. It is that a power of a veto which can be overridden by the legislature by passing the bill again second time with simple majority. Number 3, qualified veto. It can be overridden by the legislature by passing the bill again with comparatively higher majority. Note, in India, there is no provision for qualified veto because India opts for the parliamentary form of government. Number 4, pocket veto. It is about causing the indefinite delay in giving this assent. Constitutional does not prescribe the age limit with which the President has to be assent. Some note, pocket veto of Indian President is bigger than that the American President. He has to return the bill from reconsideration within 10 days. Number 2, in the pocket veto, President neither rectifies or rejects nor the returns the bill but simply keeps the bill pending for the indefinite period. Number 3, President has no veto power in respect of the constitutional bill. The 24th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1971 made it obligatory for the President to give his assent to a constitutional amendment bill. Next, financial power of the President. Number 1, money bills or the financial bill can only be introduced in the Parliament with his prior recommendation. Number 2, he lays down the union budget like annual financial statement before the Parliament. Number 3, demand for the grant cannot be made within his recommendation. Number 4, to meet the unforeseen expenditure, he can make the advance out of the contingency fund. Number 5, he constitutes a financial commission to recommend the distribution of revenues between the state and the central after every 5 years. Next, judicial power of the President. Number 1. He appoints the Chief Justice of India and other judges of the Supreme Court and High Courts. Number 2. Under the Article 143, the President can seek advice from the Supreme Court. This advice, however, is not binding on the President. Next point, pardoning power of the President. Article deals with 72. Pardoning power of the President does not come under the scope of judicial review except when the presidential decision is arbitrary, malified or discriminatory. President can preside the relief by exercising the following 5 types of power. Number 1. Pardon. Pardon means complete forgiveness. It is the power to say no punishment will be given. Number 2. Reprieve. Temporary suspension of the sentence or punishment is reprieve. Immediate relief is given in form of reprieve. Number 3. Respite. Awarding lesser sentence on the social grounds. For example, pregnant women can be asked President to convert the rigorous imprisonment into simple imprisonment. Number 4. Remission. Reducing the amount of sentence without changing the character. For example, rigorous imprisonment will remain rigorous only. Number 5. Commutation. Permanent substance from one form of punishment for a lighter form. Note: it is the President of India who can pardon the death sentence. He is the only constitutional authority to pardon the death sentence. The power enjoyed by the President under the Article 71, the pardoning power. It also lies in the Governor of the state under Article 161, but Governor cannot pardon the death sentence. Next point, however, the Governor can give relief to the convict on death sentence by commutation, like by changing it to the life imprisonment. Next point, diplomatic power of the President. Number 1. All the international treaties, convention, protocols, bilateral agreement are either signed by the President or signed on behalf of the President. Number 2. The ambassadors and High Commissioner of India for other countries are appointed by the President of India. Number 3. Ambassador and High Commissioner of other countries are received in India by the President of India. Next, military powers of the President. Number 1. He is the Supreme Commander of the Defence of India. Number 2. Appoints the chiefs of the Army, Navy and Air Force. Number 3. The power to declare war and the power to conclude the peace after war is in the hand of the President. His power WRT and peace are subject to approval of the Parliament. But nuclear command is under the control of the Prime Minister of India. Next, emergency powers of the President. 3 kinds of emergency can be proclaimed by the President only after getting written recommendation of the Cabinet. Number 1. National emergency. Article deals with the national emergency is 335. Next, number 2. Constitutional emergency. Presidential rule in a state or state emergency. Article deals with 356 and Article 365. Number 3, financial emergency, and the article deals with 360. First, national emergency, Article 352. On the grounds of the security threats to the India by war, external aggression or armed rebellion, the President can proclaim this emergency only after receiving a written recommendation from the Cabinet. The proclamation of the emergency must be approved by the Parliament within 1 month. If approved, it will be continued for 6 months. Next, it can be extended to an unidentified period with an approval of the Parliament after every 6 months. Next, it has been proclaimed 3 times so far. The national emergency in India proclaimed 3 times in India so far. In 1961, Indochine War. Next, 1970 War, Bangladesh Revolution War, and 1975 internal emergency. Next point, President can be suspended the operation of fundamental rights except the Article 20 and 21 during this time of emergency. Article 19 can only be suspended in case of external emergency and not in case of the internal emergency. The President can make laws on items of mention in the state list during the period of national emergency. Next emergency, state emergency, Article 356 and 365. It is also known as the constitutional emergency, Article 356 and 365, or presidential rule in a state. Emergency due to the failures of constitutional machinery in a state. The President is satisfied on his basis or of either a report of the state governor or otherwise that the governance of the state cannot be carried on in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. It should be approved by the Parliament within 2 months. If approved, it remains in force for 6 months from the date of proclamation of the state emergency. It can be extended for maximum periods of 3 years with the approval of the Parliament every 6 months. The state governor on behalf of the President carries on the state administration with the help of the advisor appointed by the President or the Chief Secretary of the state. Next point, President's rule has been imposed more than 100 times in Indian states. Next, the financial emergency, Article 360. The President can proclaim the financial emergency if he is satisfied that financial stability or credit of India or any part of the territory thereof is threatened. It must be approved by the both houses of the Parliament within 2 months. The President can issue the direction for the reducing the salaries and allowances of all or any class persons serving in the connection within the affairs of the Union, including the judge of the Supreme Court and High Courts. Financial emergency has not been declared so far in India. Now we will discuss the list of President of India. Number 1, the President of India list and important facts. Number 1, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. His tenure was 1950 to 1962. He was the first President of India. he had the longest tenure of 12 years. Number 2, Dr. Sarvakishan Radhakrishnan, his tenure 1962 to 1967. He was also the first Vice President of India 1952 to 1962. Next, number 3, Dr. Zakir Hussain. He was the first president to die in the office. He was also the first Muslim president of India. Next, number 4, B.B. Giri. He completed the Zakir Hussain term. And number 5, M. Hidayatullah. He was the first acting president of India. At that time, he was the Chief Justice of Supreme Court. Next, number 6, B.B. Giri was the only president to ascend the independent candidate. Number 7, Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad. He also died in the office of presidents. Number 8, B.D. Jati. He was also the acting president of India. Number 9, N. Sanjiva Reddy. Nilama Sanjiva Reddy. He was the youngest president of India. Number 2, he was the first unopposed president of India. Number 10, Gyani Jail Singh. During his tenure, Operation Blue Star, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was assassinated during his term, and he was appointed Rajiv Gandhi as the Prime Minister of India. Number 11, R. Venkataraman. Number 12, Shankar Dayal Sharma. Number 13, APJ Abdul Kalam. He was the first scientist to become the President of India. Number 2, his birthday is observed as the World Student Day by the United Nations on 15th October. He was the first non-political President of India. Next, number 14, Patiba Patel. She was the first woman President of India. Number 15, Pranab Mukherjee. And number 16, Ramnath Kovind. He is now the President of India since 2017. His tenure will be end in the year of 2022. So this year election of president will be held. So this is the complete information of President of India, and I'll discuss all the information about the president's articles and the MCQ question related to President of India. I think this will help you in the next examination. I hope you like the video. If you like the video, then press the like button and share this video. And if you are new to this channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get daily notification. Thanks for watching.